Hi, this is Noodles. I hope you're having a great day. Today's video is an astrological video. The title of today's video is Astrology, Synastry, Pluto Conjunct Venus, the Vampire, parentheses Pluto, and the Ingenue, parentheses Venus. When someone has their Pluto conjunct someone's Venus and the other person has their Venus conjunct the first person's Pluto, there can be an intense chemistry between two people because Pluto is very black and white, very intense, very about death and rebirth, and Venus is love, so it's intense Pluto love, Venus. I want to say the bad things about this placement first, and then I'm going to say the good things about the placement later. So the bad thing about this placement is it's too intense and overbearing. Usually from the Pluto person, they want to control and overbear the other person. Sometimes it's from jealousy and envy. Sometimes they're just on a power trip, and sometimes they're insecure and don't like themselves. So they try to control their lover and people in their relationships. Another bad thing about Pluto conjunct Venus in Synastry in astrology is there can be a lot of envy and jealousy from both sides, from both the Pluto person and the Venus person. The Pluto person would be envious of the Venus person's innocence and kind of and their style, because Venus can rule fashion and style. The Pluto person is envious of the Venus person's kind of more lightheartedness, because Pluto can be heavy and it wishes it can be as lighthearted as other planets and signs. And Venus is envious and jealous of Pluto. They're envious of Pluto's intensity and how they command respect and power. They might even envy Pluto's authority, because Venus might not have any in this synastry and relationship. Within this relationship, the Pluto person usually has more authority and power. Maybe they're a boss. Maybe the Venus person is dating their boss. Maybe the Venus person is dating someone really famous, or the Venus person is dating someone who's physically more imposing than them. Another bad thing about Pluto conjunct Venus synastry in astrology is they're two different people. Venus can be kind of superficial and shallow on the shadow end, and Pluto can be intense and heavy on the extreme end. So Pluto might come on too strong for Venus, and Venus might come off wanting to cut off the relationship or end the relationship. Pluto might be envious, but also jealous. They're jealous because they're afraid they'll lose the Venus person, because the Venus person is so beautiful to them, because Venus is beauty. Pluto is also envious of Venus's kind of charisma, because they have a more detached, lighthearted charisma than Pluto. And Pluto does have a charisma to it, but it's more intense and combative and heavy, long-lasting, and more threatening. Pluto conjunct Venus, the synastry, is can be a great one, and I'm gonna segue this into the great parts of Venus conjunct Pluto synastry in a relationship. good parts of Pluto conjunct Venus synastry is that it's a very intense and all-encompassing relationship. The two people almost feel like they're soulmates, whether that's true or not. Especially the Pluto person, because the Pluto person fixates on the Venus person, and the Venus person has finally found someone who loves deeply and is loyal, because Pluto energy is very loyal, and they have finally found someone who finally is willing to not just be superficial, but be in a relationship with them. And Venus really likes that about Pluto. And two more good things about the Pluto conjunct Venus synastry in astrology is the sex can be really good for any relationship, gay, straight, trans, bisexual, because Pluto is sex and Venus is beauty. They find both each other very attractive and sexy, so they're likely to be very attracted to each other, and that puts the probability of sex and great sex at a high percentage. And finally, the great thing about the Pluto conjunct Venus synastry is that for me, when I look at this synastry, I see tell death do its part. The good side of this synastry, because Pluto is death, but also really loyal and stubborn. And Venus may be looking for love and loyal love, and Pluto can give that to Venus. But that's only if Pluto learns to tame its intensity down a little bit, maybe a lot. And Pluto can love Venus, but only if Venus learns to be less flighty and less superficial. I call this synastry placement Pluto conjunct Venus synastry as the vampire Pluto and the Ingenue Venus. The reasons because vampires are kind of intense, they're very overbearing. Some people think they're sexy, I don't, but okay. The vampire is very Pluto in archetype, and the Ingenue, and Venus is the Ingenue in this synastry, because there's kind of a youthful, flighty energy about them, and like young people that like to wear different clothes and wear different fashions. That's it for today. This is Class Noodles Awakening. I hope you enjoyed my video. It's my first synastry video for astrology. And I like this synastry placement, but it can be a bit intense at times. Thank you for watching.